Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.
And welcome to another episode of Generation Shock. It's your boy, the monster on the mic, Shock Monster. Hey, man, how's everybody doing out there today? Yeah. All right, we got some awesome people on the show with us today. First and foremost, I got to introduce our fearless leader. This guy got more experience than Moses out there running that game. It's my boy.
That's right. It is more experience in every way. I'm kidding. No. Hold on. Let me take that now.
Wifey?
This is my boy. This is Messiah. You know, you guys already know. Check us out on Generation Shock and check us out tonight in Aftershock. Hashtag Aftershock.
That's right. Hashtag Aftershock. And that's that PET time. Pandemic Eastern time. Don't forget it. All right. Next up on the mic, you know he's beautiful. You know he's luscious. And ladies, you know if you have a night with him, he'll make you sway. It's my boy.
What's up? What it do, shawty? It's your boy Gordo. How y'all doing today?
Yeah. Get it. Hey, don't let him take pictures of you. You won't stop moving. All right, now, Goldo, I want you to go ahead. I want you to go ahead and throw it off and introduce our special guest. Real quick, Nelly, just so you guys understand, our boy Nelly, it's his birthday. He went on a little trip, got away for a couple of days. Everybody shout out to your boy Nelly. Happy birthday. We love
Nelly.
you. We miss you. But I'm very excited, and I can't wait to hear the introduction. Take it away, Goldo.
Yes. And you can see we have a special guest in today. He's handsome. They call him Nate. They call him Nasty. They call him Nasty Nate. They call him Palo. They call him Malo. They call him Palo Malo. It's your boy Nate out here. Nate, introduce yourself, my good friend.
Hello, everybody. Just like Gondo said, my name is Nasty Nate. We've been watching the show for a few weeks now. It's been very funny, very entertaining. I just do a little bit of stuff like school. I work out a lot. I'm in a world called CrossFit. Long story, but that's what I do. I like to play video games. I like listen to music, most genres except country. I don't do that. And I'm just here having a good time.
Ladies, he likes long walks on the beach, holding hands under the stars. You know,
and he work you out. He can work you
all night long. All night long.
Real quick. Where's that? Where does the name Nasty Nate come from?
Nope. I was about to say, no, this is one of those old McNutty things. Yep. It's one of those things you have to tune in for a little while before you find out.
Okay. I'll say it has two meanings. The original name came from the gym. I was just working out with my friends and all that. And then one day, one of my coaches were saying, yo, that's Nasty Nate because of how good I was doing. And then I was like, all right, whatever. I just let it be. So then it got on from there. Then later on with the nickname, my friends are like, yo, why you Nasty Nate? And I said, well, there's only one way to find out. And then that's how it grew from there. So it has two versions. And the other version, I use it for after hours.
Okay, well, listen, I just want to tell all the ladies watching this episode, hey, all the ladies watching this episode, I just want to give you a heads up. You have to watch the entire episode if you want to learn his IG. Because at the end of the episodes, through the credits, your boy Messiah puts that shit up on the credits, all right? So if you want to know about Nasty Nate's IG, you want to hit him up, and you want him to put you through that workout, you got to wait till the end.
I appreciate it.
Them workout sections are legit. They're legit.
Hey, here's the thing. Nate works you out. Goldo takes the pictures, man. You get full service on this show. What's up, ladies?
Yo, I give you the Ray J special. Oh. And let me tell you what that is. Let me tell you what that is real quick before we head into the section. So the Ray J special is a camera, any type of camera. It's going to be a tripod because you need stability, you know. And a ring light because you need good lighting. Not like Ray J, be in the dark, you know. My boy need a good camera. I'm just saying.
My boy makes people famous though.
He made people famous, but bad lighting, we can't see nothing.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hop into that.
Was it Kim Kardashian or the Paris Hilton?
Kim K.
No, it was Kim Kardashian.
Oh,
it's hard to keep track of those sex videos that are out there with these girls, these rich girls nowadays. I mean,
yeah.
So let's hop into this first topic, right? So First topic, just so you guys know, we're going to we want to bring it back to the old school. Last week, hope you guys tuned in. It was a great episode. We talked a little bit about the past. Now, one of the things we talked about was conspiracy theories, and personally, we all talked about it afterwards. We're like, damn, there's so many things we never even touched on in that topic. And for some reason, that was like all of our favorite topic. If you guys were watching the hashtag Aftershock as well, that's one thing we talked about. So don't forget to tune in to hear some of the, inside things. But we do want to go ahead and kick it off with that. But I want to kick it off with our guest today, Nasty Nate over there. I want to know, what's your conspiracy theory you want to throw out to the group, and talk a little bit about it, man.
Yeah, so I actually watched that week for the show, and that was very interesting as far as talking about some of them, one of them being the landing on the moon, and that was very interesting as far as the points you guys brought up. It was so funny, and I was just giving people information. I gave Messiah information one time, and I was like, yo, you should use this as ammo because I already know how some people are going to react. So that was fun. Now, the current theory that's always been on my mind is about Area 51. And everybody knows Area 51 is a military base out there in Nevada, very top secret. They do a lot of research, especially on aircrafts, but just some things don't make sense, especially in terms of technology. About 50 years ago, we barely had what we have right now. We barely had TVs, telephones. We didn't even have computers until the 80s, and that was just pushing technology. But then you fast forward 2010, now we have all these crazy gadgets, smartphones, computers that are very thin, even small. And then fast forward another 10 years, and now we have TVs in 8K and all that. So how do you get technology that fast? And then that brought me back to Area 51, where it's, okay, if all these types of technology is going on, especially with planes and recons and all that, there has to be something out there, because things don't make sense. If, first of all, commercial planes can't even fly over that base. They have to go around it. And if you even try to get close to that base, they have military men and women. Yeah, they'll shoot you down. They won't even care. And if you get even closer, they'll give you the warning and all that. But there's even warning signs around the base. So what is in there? I mean, obviously.
But what's also crazy about that area? That since you're talking about that, there's sensors all over, like spread out, even out on the outskirts, to let them know and alert them. Hey, somebody's walking around. They deploy a military unit quick. So you start thinking, what is it? Is it top secret stuff for the for the military, or is it because they're hiding something? But I strongly believe that it's more of a military thing, more of a top secret military, because they do a lot of they have underground whole network underground after that, and I believe they also go right into the mountains, from underground straight to the mountains also. So there's a lot of stuff in there that they're trying to keep people away, but there's also airplane, airfield. So
exactly.
So what I don't know if this is gonna go against what you're saying or actually help it, but the one thing we always got to remember when we're talking about conspiracies in the military, right? And the only thing, because you brought up something, I wrote it down because I wanted to be able to come back to it real quick, is you're like, oh, there wasn't even computers to the 80s and stuff like that. So the one thing we got to keep in mind whenever we're talking about anything to do with this kind of stuff, there's all the stuff that we get out in the mainstream has been around for, they say on average, 25 to 50 years, give or take. It may not be certain things, right? But they're military use, and they're not going to be made to the public. So the only thing you got to remember is, just because we as people didn't really start getting them to the 80s, the computers were there. They were being utilized. Now, it doesn't necessarily debunk what you're saying, because, right, like, well, where did we get the technology to even get to that point? Okay, sure, that could have been from another race, and we re-engineered it. Okay, so I completely agree with you, and so I just wanted to throw that out there real quick, because I know other people are going to talk first, but just keep that in mind when we're talking about this stuff, that we don't see everything that all the technology that's already been produced until way later. That's all.
Yeah, like the internet was. The internet was invented for the government to communicate, right? And even from governments to communicate. Well, in the 80s, when the Cold War ended, physicists was like, okay, so what the hell do we do with this now? And they said, you know what? Just give it to the public. And that's when the dot-com boom took off.
Yeah.
And that's when the internet was started being introduced, and AOL and all that other shit. But you're right. So a lot of that stuff, it is military use. It doesn't go out to the public because it's used for the military. So maybe again, so that could be what's going on in Area 51 and other areas that are private. That there's a lot of shit that is being used there. But I was watching a very interesting video on Netflix. Hashtag Netflix, because it's like my number one promotion.
I don't know why
we should have a show. I'm gonna write to Netflix and be like, yo, can we just do a show and then you guys do a whole season with us, and what the fuck? Because I talk about you guys all the time.
But why would they when you give a free advertisement every week?
That's true. That's true.
So I was watching this episode and it talks about Area 51, top secrets areas in Area 51, and it talked about that the conspiracy is that they have aliens there, and they found an alien ship, Roswell, that took it from Roswell and it drove it right into Nevada, right? And that's where the idea was for the spaceship, and they have one of those. That's why the movie what was it? Independence Day. They go into Area 51. That's exactly where they end up going, which is very interesting that how they brought it up in that movie too. So, and then that's where I learned about the secret stuff. Like, dude, they got nighttime, daytime. They have ground-to-air missiles that go that can cover that whole area. It's whatever is there is top secret. So, what I believe is just that a lot of the technology is there. But remember, they also do a lot of tests in that area. Yeah. A lot of military tests.
Goldo, you mind if I jump in real quick? I mean, if you want to go, you can go. I'm trying to be more considerate.
Shaq Monster traumatized from that clip, right?
So listen, I just want to bring up a couple things so people have a little bit more of a background. So let's understand. So two things. Number one, there is a truth behind technology brings technology, right? So Nate's not wrong when he talks. Like, the one thing I've always said, which is why I'm kind of a believer, because I've watched a lot of stuff about this, is my dad was born in 1939, and I do try to give a little Papa Sheck shout out, every week, because he watches this religiously, so I want him to know I love him. But he was born in 1939, right? He was born in a time where he's seen, in my opinion, that age group has seen more technological changes in their lifespan than maybe any other generation will ever see throughout time, possibly. You know what I mean? Like, the technology jumps are just amazing. They went from no TV to black and white to color to flat screen to plasma to smartphones to internet. All this shit that when he was a child.
The evolution of car.
Yeah, like cars aren't that much further.
Yeah, but
planes, jets, space, like dude, he grew up in the space age. Like, you know what I mean? Like 39, he was in there when Kennedy, when
it was exciting.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so he's seen all this stuff. So, but the one thing I've always heard about all of this technology stuff is once you start getting, it's like a snowball effect, right? Once you get to a certain point, it just starts to multiply exponentially. Cool, right? But let's talk about the actual conspiracy itself then, just for 2 seconds. Because if we're going to talk about Area 51 and we don't bring up the actual incident and what happened, we're not bringing up whether it could be true or not be true. So the incident was there was a crash in Roswell, New Mexico. Wow. Okay? And there was reported to be debris and what people thought to be bodies and everything like that. And the initial report by the government was that this was a crashed UFO. Okay, what happened is the next day they covered up, they took everything out of the crash site, they locked out all the media, and they retracted their statements and said that wasn't the case. It was a downed weather balloon. Now, I have two things that I'm curious about, and I want to ask you guys, which is why I wanted to bring this up. Number one, did the government try to use a cover-up for maybe a government project that they didn't want anybody to know about because they were in the Cold War? You don't want people knowing about stuff, and they realized they fucked up by saying it was aliens as their cover-up, right? And they're like, oh, now we got to retract that.
Well, they didn't say aliens; they said UFO.
Well, no, but there was bodies and stuff. But you're right; they might not have said actual aliens, but a UFO. Or number two, was it actually the truth that it was a UFO? And they've realized that they shouldn't have said that to the public because of the widespread panic, right? And they had to cover that up instead, right? Because remember, I don't know if you guys remember the story. You ever hear about the War of the Worlds story?
Yeah, the one on the
vaguely.
radio. You talking about the radio
Yep,
one?
exactly. I just want to make sure. So
Okay.
for the listeners out there who don't know,
That caused a panic. That
That's my-
was in the early age of radio.
there you go. That's my point.
Okay.
There was and that's exactly why I brought it up. That if they made the mistake that it is true, right? They made the mistake. So the War of the Worlds thing on the radio was that the what is it, Keanu Reeves one? That's like redone, right? There was an original War of the Worlds way back before our time. Well, maybe not Lewis or Messiah's, but the rest of our times, right?
It was before my time.
Messiah was around for that, but it's okay. So
I did the sound
this
effects.
radio broadcast because that's how people watch TV. There wasn't a television. They sat around the radio and they listened to these broadcasts, and that's what and families did that as a group, and they did a broadcast of a show called War of the Worlds or a movie, and people thought it was real. People thought we were being invaded by aliens, and they flipped the fuck out. They went fucking nuts. So what happens is now, did an alien ship actually crash? And the military realized if we're truthful about what happened, people are gonna flip the fuck out. So we're gonna cover it up. Like, so that's where there's so many different angles at this. And Goldo, I want you to tell me what your think is. Like, but I wanted to bring those things up because I think this is the core of everything we're talking about with Area 51. It all stems from this stuff. So Goldo, tell me what you think about all this.
I'm not as young as you guys.
Yeah.
My question to you is,
You're not as young? I thought you're younger.
joke. Oh my God! Yo, go find it. Go find it.
come on.
It went over his head. Right? It went over his head. Right? Where to go?
All right. I had another Shepard moment.
Look, he turning red. Look, he's turning red. Look.
Too much research. That's what's going on.
My question to you
Let's do the
Hey,
question.
which of the two happened first? The crash landing or the War of the War radio thing? Okay,
The radio thing.
The radio thing. 'cause it
Okay,
was
so
when
my
radio was
theory
peaking.
to that is,
Yeah, no, if I have to, I can look it
so
up.
my theory to that
But-
is seeing how the people panicked over a radio show that, like you said, took off like that, and people were like going bananas. They were like, "Oh crap! If we release this, people are just gonna go even crazier to handle the truth." Henceforth, I believe that's why they don't tell us the truth because
Well-
people are not ready to handle the truth.
No, go ahead.
Let me
Let him
talk.
talk.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up that point. Yeah, you are. But that's the point I was going
Jack
to say.
Nicholson.
after
You
finish.
can't handle
Yeah.
the truth.
Yeah, because people, when it
Go,
comes
go,
to sensitive stuff like that, it's like people see something, they blow it out of proportions, and it's like, and it brings it to the theory that government is like, okay, these dumb motherfuckers are not ready to know the truth. Like, we tell them it's out there, you can see it, but if we tell you it's real, you're gonna be like, oh snap, I gotta go buy me a gun. Aliens are gonna come. I'm gonna kill everybody. My neighbor's an alien. You see, it's like, it's like the government's trying to tell us like, hey, yeah, it's out there, but you're not ready to know if it's really out there. That's my theory to that point. But
Yeah.
But
You're right.
So what do you think, Nate?
Me, considering everything that's been said so far, first, the definition of a UFO is an unidentified flying object.
it could be
Yes.
from
So-
Earth or
The
outer.
point. Yeah.
We don't know exactly what it is. Exactly. Now, the way I see it is, okay, if you call that a UFO and you had all these radio talks and then the whole War of the Worlds and all that, I say yes. I say there was an actual alien spaceship that landed in whatever, something went wrong. Obviously, the government does their press, but then now you change it out of nowhere. One, that looks very suspicious, and as saying as, okay, why are you calling it this, and then now you're calling it a weather balloon and all that. To me, that's very suspicious because, okay, what if there was something in there that could have done damage to either the country or the area or worldwide? And two, then if they're going to go ahead and change this story, what happens when there's another incident and they change that story? So there's a lot that goes on. So I think personally that there was an actual UFO that shit landed. They were like, oh shit, we should have never said that, and they changed it. So I think it's for real. It doesn't add up completely.
So, like, I mean, the UFO part, so I always looked at it like this real quick. The UFO part's not what's intriguing. It was all the stories about the bodies afterwards, right? Because Nate, you said the best thing. UFO is just an unidentified flying object, right? So if I go outside, I see something in the sky, I don't know what it is, that's a UFO technically, right? It was all the reports of the bodies they found, the like 3 to 4 feet humanoid looking creature that people said that they saw taken
But who
away.
found those bodies? Was it the government or the actual?
Well, the government took
media
them.
that seen
The
bodies?
government took them, but there was reports of people who were first on the scene who said they saw bodies. Because let's just think about it factual, right? Let's say Nate's wrong and it's not aliens, and I'm not saying he's right or wrong yet because I have my own opinion on it. I'm not getting into that yet. But regardless, somebody was flying.
Yeah.
Unless it's truly a weather balloon, which none of us believe. I think we can all agree with that, right? None of us believe it was a weather balloon, right?
No.
It was definitely a UFO. It was definitely an unidentified flying object, right? So here's the thing: whether it was human flown by our government or another government, or it was alien flown, there was bodies, right? But it was the description of the bodies that was so consistent that makes you wonder. Why would they have 4-foot pilots like that? You know what I mean? Like, there's certain shit that just doesn't add up completely when you hear about the accounts and the reports of the eyewitness.
I can kind of answer that question.
Okay.
I mean, and Nate probably could too because Nate does studied math and engineering. They can have smaller people because they're less weight. So if the government was really testing something, it's less weight.
My question would be, because it's not about a weight thing, I think. It would be about a gravity thing. Like, so Nate, you may not know the answer to this, and if you don't, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. But is a smaller bodied person able to handle like 4 G's? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about traveling. Yeah, the G-force. Thank you. That's not the G-force that Goldo puts down on the girl. It's a different.
Not the Goldo force. Not the Goldo force.
But that's that good G-force.
That's why I called it the G-force. And I said you, Goldo. All right. But
Thrustmaster.
Yeah. Does it have something to do with your body structure or no? Do you know?
To an extent. I mean, if you think about it, most pilots are of a very similar body structure. You can't be obviously, too wide, too tall, too large, because the aircrafts themselves are designed for one person. So most of the time it's going to be one type of style.
Yeah.
Weight, in essence, yes, but when you're talking about, let's say 150-pound person to an already heavy aircraft, you're adding extra weight doesn't really matter. When it comes to gravity is the same way whether you drop a rock, 1 pound of rock or 1 pound of feathers. It's the same speed that's going to happen. If you add a little bit more weight, yes, but then you're going to hit terminal velocity, and that's it. Once you hit terminal velocity, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter.
So first of all, I just want to shout out that we have the smartest person on Generation Shock ever, because this dude's spitting out some kind of fucking knowledge like, for the rest of us dumbasses who are usually on the show. I love this shit. Like, dude, terminal velocity, oh my goodness. As
he's saying it, I'm visualizing everything. My head's like,
I can see you. Your eyes are like, I'm watching it fall.
I'm like,
also, I was thinking if they were like 3 to 4 foot tall, maybe you said it was during the Cold War. Maybe they were experimenting with children, with kids.
Our U.S. government wouldn't have. The other conspiracy that's never been brought up that has always
what if they were actually using kids?
Point.
All right, that's fine. I don't. I'm not big on that. But here's
I'm against that one.
Here's what I think the conspiracy that's never been brought up that I think could be a valuable option. What if it was a different government? Right? What if it was the Cold War? Now, you're talking about gymnasts and those Russian people, right? They're short as fuck to begin with. Okay, so they're going to have smaller statures. That's just the way they are. Like, they're built differently. So what if maybe it was an enemy ship, right? Not alien, but enemy ship that crashed. And they had to cover it up. But guess what? The other government can't admit that they flew an enemy craft over our territory. So are they ever going to debunk what the U.S. says? No. Why would you? It makes no fucking sense. because then you're admitting to wrong. So there's a lot of different theories out there. And I will say this, there's a couple things real quick, because I wanted to jump into the whole thing, right? Because I'm passionate about this. That's why I talked about the ancient alien theory last time. This ties directly into it, right? It makes me wonder, like, a couple things. One, if they did crash here, and I'm not saying there's not sightings and stuff, but why wouldn't they just land and be like, yo, motherfuckers, I'm here, right? Like, they got to be more advanced than us. They got better weapons than us. Why has they never landed in public and been like, yo, let's go, it's time?
I tell you why something like that will be kept and imagined. No,
hold on. There's a difference. Not kept. That's what you're not understanding. You're telling me the alien race couldn't do it if they wanted to?
Well, let me ask you this. What would it? Maybe it does, and then the government probably tries to put a stop to it or tries to hide it immediately.
But how can they?
But think about, well, like if Roswell was real,
no,
that's how they can do it, right?
No, but
I'm just saying, Roswell.
But understand what I'm trying to say.
What is stopping the aliens from dropping down Tom Kissimmee and saying, "What up, bitches? We here"? What is stopping the aliens from doing that?
That's it. Like, there was a crash on a site in Roswell. They covered up a crash, right? Okay, so cool. Mm-hmm. But we took them and we did things. We experimented on them, right? Supposedly. So what stops them from coming back and saying, look, I'm about to land on the fucking White House where everybody can see our asses. You can't cover that up. If there's really aliens out there, our technology can't stop them from landing in fucking Kissimmee, on top of a Chick-fil-A and be like, yo, let me get that freaking Chick-fil-A sauce. I love that shit.
And then they forget it's Sunday and they'll be like, fuck.
Yeah, maybe that's the problem. They only visit us on Sundays and Chick-fil-A's closed, so they leave. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, that's the one thing that always makes me a little skeptical. But that goes back to the whole God theory, right? That we talked about with ancient aliens, right? So why is it that all these things happen then, but they don't happen now, right? Are we not worthy of God? Are we not worthy of aliens? Like, why the fuck can't we get some of this shit going on?
So, speaking of that, and that's I was actually watching ancient aliens, right? And my wife and I, we were having a discussion, and we were talking about, she was like, "What if they do exist? What if this?" And I go, "Think about if aliens do exist. Think about I'm gonna just throw this out there. Think about what it would do to religion. If alien exists, think about what it would do to religion."
And the reason why some will fall apart. The reason why is because some religions don't believe in the existence of other supreme being besides God, and that will tear some religions apart.
No, because what you're
okay. Go ahead.
What you're forgetting about religion is this.
I wanted to get you on that one.
God, you just love to get me going. So religion is about power and control. Okay, that's what religion is about, and religion will always find a way to pivot to remain and control power. So what they're going to tell you is this, and I guarantee I've seen it on shows even, because that's the way it goes, that listen, God made us in his image, but God made other creatures. Plain and simple. There was never anything said in the Bible that God didn't make other intelligent creatures or creatures more intelligent than us. He just made us in his image. So if those creatures look different than us, that's fine. Because guess who their creator is?
God, yeah.
God. Because God created everything. God created it all. So that doesn't debunk God. That doesn't debunk religion. That makes us have to expand the way we look at religion. And you guys don't realize is there religions out there already today who have those beliefs, and they're mainstream religions. See, we all get caught up in Christianity, Judaism, and like whatever the main three are, right? And I'm not going to bring up religions in there, but I know for a fact there are other religions who have a belief that are different than the mainstream, and they accept the fact that this is stuff that can happen. I mean, the church thought if you found out that the earth wasn't the center of the universe, people thought then that the church would fall apart because that's all they preached. What did they do? They pivoted. They found a way to retain power. The church will never lose power because you will always have blind faith believers. Faith, you can't until you stop faith.
That's what
you will never stop the church. And I don't mean it in a negative way.
Because yes, it won't change the image of God, but there's some people that are still so close-minded. They're like, nah, like God didn't create it. It wasn't God. They will fall apart because they're like, nah. they're still straightforward
Yes.
with one creator, one being. The only things in the universe is us.
But that's no
One
different.
planet.
Yeah.
That's why they.
But there's no.
like,
But that's no different
Yeah.
than the history, right? There's always going to be the select few who don't want to accept the change, right? But the masses, the majority, will still carry on. So you're not right. Yeah, you're right in what you say, but it's never going to be enough to affect anything, right? It will never be enough for there not to be the established system that we have. So you'll have those people who no longer believe in the church, but they're going to be so few and far between, because as soon as the church changes its views, right, on the way things are, which churches really, if you really pay, like, I'm not that religious, but I know enough because of what Lewis was just saying about the realization of there's more stars in the sky than there are grains of sand on Earth, right? Number one. Number two, every single one of those stars, for the most part, has planets circling around it, right? So by the law of numbers, there are other Earth-like planets out there. Not to even mention, we don't even know if these are the only requirements of life. We assume that's the case, and we're finding planets that could hold life on them by our only requirements, but we don't know what the requirements of life are out there in the universe. So their churches are starting to prep and start to be ready for those types of things, because they know it's only a matter of time before it happens. The church is prepared. They're not dumb, man. They've held power way too long, since the time of Lewis, that or Messiah, like how are they not gonna? I mean, he could tell you better than anybody. He's seen how many regimes of church rise and fall, but they're always still there.
True. Before we change to our next topic, I have one more topic.
No, because we ain't done with
Oh yeah, this is
Oh,
far from
okay.
over.
It's still going.
This is far from over.
Still going.
Because I was one of the things I was gonna say is this is why I don't believe, and it's possible that it's true, but I don't believe that the crash that happened in Roswell was really alien, because there's not enough magnetic fields to attract. Okay, so if you watch Ancient Aliens, you watched it, Sheckman. They talk about certain areas that have the changing of the magnetic field. The magnetic field is different in different parts of the Earth,
Yes.
right? So it looks like towards more. Yeah, just look towards more the equator section, that the magnetic field is stronger, and those are used for gateways, and that's how they navigate, right? So Roswell is nowhere near that. So what was it? Finding its way to it, and it just crashed. That's for me. That's why
That's a whole deeper.
To me, it makes more sense. Go ahead, Nate.
But the only thing about the magnetic field is, whether some people realize it or not, there's a actual North and South Pole, and then there's the magnetic North and South Pole, and those change every year according to how the planet is going. So yes, maybe at that time it wasn't affected, but we don't know what if it was months or even years planning into the flight before the poles got changed. So for that part, I have to go against it, because if it wasn't taken into account where the poles are going to change, then we don't know exactly how it crashed.
Okay, I'm
Yeah, and the one thing we talked about,
but it is advanced technology.
You remember
It
the
is.
other thing
True. Yes,
there's been
you
a lot
are.
of other
That
things
is
about
true.
the poles when we get into magnetic forces. And Nate, you maybe can tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I've done seen a lot of stuff that there's. I don't know how often, 20,000 years, 10,000 years, or maybe 100,000 years, but our poles reverse. Like these aren't constant things we have going on. So more of what Nate said about things changing, they worry about at some point we're getting closer to the point where the North and South can flip, and that goes back to the reason, like we talk about, like there's so much stuff when we talk about the fact that how lucky we are. Yeah, like the whole fact that we're lucky to have life on this planet to begin with is the fact that we're not a perpendicular planet. We're actually at an axis, which actually helps those things. And like the moon, like there's so many factors that had to go into us being here that are just fucking mind blowing. But when you're talking about 1 in a trillion chance that we're the only ones out, or 1 in a quadrillion, badillion chance because of how many planets, like it just doesn't make sense that we're the only ones. Have they came here and they visited? I don't know. I'll be honest. I will say this: if you have to ask me between Roswell and Ancient Aliens, I'm all for Ancient Aliens.
Because
okay, I'm so on the board that they came and they visited us, and they said, "Fuck you. and we're not coming back because you guys are some dumb monkeys.
Or
right? Like,
what if?
No, what they say is like, fuck that. I'm tired of landing in that planet and being a fucking a guinea pig.
Yeah.
We ain't going there
Yo.
anymore. It's dangerous going
they
there.
were gods.
They're gonna grab
They were
you.
gods. They
They're
ruled
gonna
us.
grab you
Yo.
and stitch you up and stick needles in you. And then once in a while they'll come in here, pick somebody up,
No,
stick a
what
needle in them, and
happened
then drop
is-
them off here
Oh,
back
hey,
again.
some anal
Bro,
probing
what
going
happened
on.
That's what it
was-
feels like.
Yeah, anal probing.
What
and
happened is
shit.
they landed up in Kirkman. It was like, yo, this shit is ghetto as hell. We're not coming back. And then they left. They left. They landed in Orlando, Kirkman. They're like, nah, chill. This is ghetto. We out. But
What other
yes, I was gonna get
conspiracy
there. I was gonna get there. This one I liked. I like this
What
one
other
coming up.
conspiracy theories?
And you guys have listened to it about it a lot. Maybe Messiah knows the secret of it because he probably created it himself. And this is a big one. Nah,
Illuminati?
bigger than COVID.
COVID?
The Bermuda Triangles.
Really?
The Bermuda Triangle.
Oh,
That's an
a
ancient
fun
alien.
one.
Bro, that one, yo, there's a lot of questions
Bro.
that weren't answered.
But here's the thing. Here's the crazy shit about that. And ancient aliens are actually what made me like, holy shit, that's pretty badass. What
ties
is
into
it
the
about
same
that area? What is it about that area that like at one point what was
The
it,
World War II pilot?
II? Or
Yeah.
before that?
Yeah,
there were
the
five
planes,
pilots
yeah.
went out.
World War II area.
Five pilots,
Yep.
and they all lost. And then they sent another airplane to find those pilots, and they got lost.
Yep.
I'm like, what is it about that area?
But-
do you think it's a hidden area?
But it's like you said about the magnetics, right? Is so because you brought that up? Is that one of those magnetic points on Earth?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, oh, my fault. I
No.
apologize.
No,
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
I was
You're the
just gonna
guest.
make one. No, I was just gonna make one quick thing about it. The only thing I know physically about the island that I've read and it's been verified is something about the fumes in that land that somehow affect planes every time they go around. Because there's one pilot, and I wish I remember her name. I think it's Anne or Annie, who went to fly around the world. Obviously, trying to do it in multiple stops. But then you're
Amelia Earhart.
I was gonna say that's what you're thinking.
That's the name.
Yeah.
So she's basically 3/4 of the way done, and then you just disappear. And the only location we know that has pilots disappearing is the Bermuda Triangle. So that's
the
all
thing
I
is-
know about that.
I don't know, but so I don't know about an island part, right? But the thing that all the stuff I saw and I've heard is it's about the magnetic structure of it. So everything, anybody who's ever traveled in it, except obviously before when we're even Christopher Columbus type times, they all had compasses, right? And compasses are reliant on the magnetic field. So I haven't heard anything about
Exactly.
the fume part, right? But what I've heard about is there's a magnetic fluctuation in that area that screws up people's instruments. That's the word I'm looking for. So the instruments get screwed up, and so yeah, I apologize. I was just oh shit. So this is the kind of life I live. My niece just brought
That's
me
what your
oysters,
sister cooked today?
so they didn't go bad.
That's
Oh,
what your
yeah,
sister
4. I
cooked?
thought I had 6. No, this was just
The text associate too.
oh son of a bitch. I lost 2 of them because I'm on the show. Anyways, I apologize. This is we just pimping out here. But it was the it's when you go back to what Messiah said about magnetic fields and why that he doesn't believe in Roswell, well, that's the exact opposite of what we're talking about when we're talking about the Bermuda Triangle, that it's all about that magnetic field and the fluctuations. And I'll be honest, man, when I get older and I'm ready to just kick the bucket anyway, I don't give a shit about my life. Let's fucking die.
Yeah.
I want to go.
So,
I want to check that shit
when it-
out. I'm going to take a break real quick. I'm going to put it on mute and you guys talk.
So there was a video that I saw on the Bermuda Triangles where this guy he was flying over the Bermuda Triangles, and he flew into the triangle. But the thing is, he covered 3 hours worth of land, 3 hours worth of land in 30 minutes. His plane disappeared and reappeared
in 30
all
minutes.
the way down in Florida, and in 30 minutes.
Brian, I
We
can
can
hear
hear
that.
by his mic on.
He put a. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Good.
So I was like,
All right, cool. So yeah, so I was gonna bring that up. So that's a good one.
How's
Go
that
ahead.
possible? And they were like, oh, this. So one of the things that people starting writing about in the comments, and when I saw the videos, like, oh, there's gotta be some type of fluctuation when it comes to magnetic fields, or what if there's some type of dark matter in play? Because he said he was flying. Yeah, he was flying. His control center went crazy. Then all of a sudden he was like, all of a sudden he disappeared and appeared over in Florida, like.
So wait, but dark matter. But when you say about dark matter, you're
dark
talking
matter
about the
is not only
black
black hole. Dark matter is
something similar?
actually whatchamacallit.
Okay.
Crap. I forgot the correct terminology.
Dark matter has nothing to do with the black hole. Dark
You don't know
matter
yourself, though?
is so there. What? No, what? Yeah, I know.
Okay.
That's why I'm talking.
Okay.
I'm not, this isn't my first show, bro. I've made these mistakes in the past. This is my first rodeo. So real quick, energy, matter, right? There's the ones we see and the ones we don't. And so when they talk about the expansion of the universe, right? The scientists don't understand why the universe is expanding, and some think are going into a deep freeze. Others talk about it that we're all going to pull back in and go into a big thing, whatever you want to call it. So what they've come to understand is in their theories and doing research is there's a thing called dark matter. And the dark matter is a subject that we still can't see, but we know is there because it's affecting the universe and it's affecting things in certain ways. So that's what's pushing things away out there in space, but we can't quantify it quite yet. We can't like put our finger on it, but we know it has to be there because we understand what matter is and we understand what that is. There's dark energy, there's dark matter, there's all these things, these other forces that scientists realize have to be in play, but they just don't know. And that shit was bomb, by the way.
That's interesting.
Some oysters.
Bon appetit.
Delivered during the show. Cheers.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed
No, but
it.
that was my.
It's an aphrodisiac. I'm ready to get some Godo life going.
Oh, now. Calm down, Checkmaster.
Make the ladies
So
sweat.
so what do you think is curious about the Bermuda Triangle? Because
Not
people
only
get
planes,
lost going in. Because
it's
it ain't
also,
just airplanes,
ships.
it's also ships.
No, you know
Yeah,
what?
it's ships.
So here's the thing. To me, this is why this is such a mystery and such a conspiracy. It's not that you go in and you get lost. How the hell haven't we found it?
None of them.
Any
None of them. We
yet,
can't find nothing.
Right? It's okay you go in and get lost. That's fine. But when you go, like you're telling me people have searched that area. Like searched it. Where is it all?
But well, can we just use satellites to like survey the area?
But what are you surveying? You're surveying the ocean. Like everything's under the ocean, supposedly, right? So where the fuck is it? We can't find it.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to
Like, he tries to, like,
understand,
monitor
I understand what you're talking about,
the
the
people
airplanes
going.
and the ships, those physical. Exactly, and like, can't you monitor? And what is it? And it what? Can't you monitor an airplane and then disappears? But can't
that's the
satellite?
Point. It
But-
disappears. It's gone.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's so if you want to come back to the magnetic poles and all of that, if the instruments are already being messed up, well, you can't track anything anymore. Navigation's gone. Any type of communication is gone. So what's going on? And I mean, I think maybe it's not a land. Maybe if you want to go back to dark matter helps with wormholes, black holes, so to speak. Maybe there's something else there where if you want to be able to cover 3 hours worth of land in 30 minutes, you can only do that in terms of sci-fi. You can only do that through a wormhole. That's the only way you can pull
You
this
just
off.
brought up my point. Is
Well-
that maybe they're not underwater?
Well, that's what the
is
guy
problem.
explains. The guy
maybe
that
they're going
explains-
somewhere.
Sorry, real quick. Yeah, the guy in the airplane, he explained. He's like, he's seen like a warp in the cloud, and that's how he ended up. He started
I've
shaking.
seen that exact show.
And all of a sudden, you seen it?
this
Yeah. So he talks
You're like,
about
no,
that. He
what are
talks
you
about
talking about?
it's like a warp, and then he ended up like he felt like he was there forever, but he ended up in like in Florida. He's like, wait a minute, how did I get here in 30 minutes? He said he'd only be flying for 30 minutes. I believe what ended up happening was he was so nervous and so intense into flying and what the hell was going on that
No,
he
but
lost time.
remember.
Right? He
the
probably like-
catalog, the flight catalog.
Time is relative.
It tells where the flight disappeared
Yeah,
and
that's
reappeared 30 minutes later with 3 hours worth of flight not there, not present. Like that land coverage
right.
is not
He's
there.
right.
So
That
maybe-
is
Like
true.
he just disappeared, reappeared like in Carajo
point. I
land.
forgot about
that.
Like how the hell he made it? And for an airplane that size, it was impossible to reach that speed without breaking apart. Like,
so that also explains that. So the airplane being that small to go through that,
no, it could go through warm.
break,
Like I'm saying, like, if it went through
that
a
also
wormhole,
brings
it's
up
fine. But if he just decided, okay, I'm just gonna speed this up and get there as fast as possible, he did not have the option to do that. First of all, the airplane was small, and the motor was not big enough for it. And I definitely doubt he had enough fuel to do all that.
So here we go. So it goes back to the last one. So what if hypothetically, I know we're all, it's a reach out there, but what if we are talking about wormholes, right? A wormhole is a thing between time and space, right? So this wormhole specifically,
Einstein's theory.
Yeah, this wormhole just brought him to another place on Earth. But what if the wormhole for Roswell brought them from another part of the universe to our part of the universe? They came through the Bermuda Triangle and they traveled a distance and they happened to crash in Roswell. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and the 5 planes that you're talking about that got lost, that's still never been found. What if they travel to a different part of the universe?
They're in another planet.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know.
Universe,
right? Like that's the problem with when we're talking about time and space. It's all relative. We don't know any of it.
Well, think about that. Like, let's imagine that for a second. Imagine you go through something like that, and then you end up in another part of the universe. What it would be like, right? Like, what would you see on that side? And then there's no way of getting back, basically. So that's basically it.
This is why I record on my other camera, because I just gotta.
Yeah. So that's why you start thinking, you're like, shit. We're in a different part of the universe.
It's actually more like time travel wise. What if you're just flying by Bermuda? Next thing you know, you're 50 years later over Kissimmee on the water. Per se. What if? Because anything is possible. Anything is possible. We don't know.
I guess we'll find out in 50 years. I mean, because in 50 years, we'll be like, oh, look at those planes in the sky. Where are they from?
Anything can happen. Because last year, this time, there's a ton of Puerto Rico that was perfectly flying. Earlier this year, it's down in the water because of the earthquakes. We never know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So here's my favorite conspiracy to change the conspiracy one. My favorite conspiracy theory is Bill Gates created COVID to make money.
Oh, God.
I've heard of that one.
I had to entertain that one because I think it is the most ridiculous thing. Why do people think
because of the computer sales?
Well, no, because he has money in. He's been predicting this for years. He's like, hey, we're not ready for a pandemic. We're not ready for anything this big. He's been actually, if anything, he's been warning the government about shit like this happening and saying that we're not ready for that because he learned that from the H1N1. He learned that from. He's like, hey, we're not ready for something like this.
But that's also like saying the Simpsons predicted the future. Like people who people say something long enough. Okay, it may come true, but like he's one of the smartest people on earth. Yeah, he could predict this shit's gonna happen at some point. That doesn't mean he fucking had anything to do with it, though. But
yeah, but that's the reason why a lot of people believe that it is a conspiracy because COVID is a conspiracy. Well, to some people, it's a conspiracy. Like I talk to people. That I'm like, do you really think this COVID is not real? Do you really think this is a conspiracy? Why would you think this is conspiracy? And a lot of the shit that they say is that, oh, this just they just want to control people. They just want this. They want to hide something. This is an election year and this and this and that. I'm like, I don't think it has anything to do with any of that. And why would like what are the benefits? Who does it benefit?
It's just a conspiracy. Why?
Well, 9/11 was a conspiracy and a lot of people died according to them. According to some people,
let's not get into 9/11.
Like Brian Sheckman. No, Sheckman brought in last week's episode. Sheckman brought a great topic, and I was talking to Viper about it. Shout out to Viper and Sue. One of our biggest watchers. And I was talking to him about it, and I didn't know this until Sheckman brought it up last week that the Holocaust, people thought it was a conspiracy. I'm like, what? People actually think that was a conspiracy? I never thought it was a conspiracy, but people actually thought it wasn't real. And the reason and the point that he brought up that I thought was really good is the reason why people thought it was a conspiracy because it didn't happen here. It happened in Europe, right? Actually, it happened in Germany. Right? So they thought it was gonna because it didn't happen here. It didn't really happen at all. I'm like, why would you think that 6 million people dying didn't happen at all? So, so think about that, right? And a lot of shit that happens, people think, why is it always? Well, I'm jumping around, but there's two conspiracies that came true.
Get shit straight.
Story.
Yeah. There's two conspiracies that came through. That was truth. The one Edward Snowden brought out, you know, about the government listening and all that. He brought that out. He brought that shit to light. So that's one of the reasons why people think, oh shit, what else is the
which makes it
government
no
hiding?
longer a conspiracy. But go ahead.
Exactly.
It's true. Yeah.
What was the? I forgot the name of it. When I get it and I remember it, I'll bring it up. But that's one of the conspiracies that was brought to light.
You know what I want to know? I want to know what really happened in Chernobyl. I want to know what the hell happened there. Like, people say it was like...
Well, the miniseries brings it out to light. The miniseries.
Oh, yeah, it was easy.
You should watch that.
That's not a conspiracy. That's a cover-up.
That's what I'm saying.
There's
like,
a difference.
What really happened there? That's what I want to know.
Well, but the series brings it out. What really happened is they're too proud to admit they were wrong, and that there was an issue, and that compounded the issue and compounded the issue and compounded the issue. So like, it wasn't a conspiracy; it was a cover-up because people didn't want to say, "Hey, we were wrong, so let's fix it." No, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Doom. Everything's fucked up.
Yeah.
You know.
The more you know.
Well, so what other conspiracy?
Hold on. So
Well,
I got I did some research
Hit me.
for this episode, and the biggest
I was gonna say the JFK.
the biggest conspiracy by far that I saw on the internet that went the deepest, had the strongest roots, and was the most impactful in our lives today was the Patriots conspiracy that the NFL has fixed their games to make sure they win. And I'm telling you, the Tuck rule bullshit, all right? The Tuck rule bullshit, the freaking Super Bowl against the Falcons was fixed. They wanted the Patriots to win.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Go online and read that shit. All this shit's real.
Yeah, right.
I'm telling you, the Patriots conspiracy has been going on for 20 years. It's deeper and it's more rooted in our lives than anybody knows. It was literally listed number 8 as the top 10 major conspiracies in the U.S.
Well,
just saying.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Is that really that deep?
Oh, that shit goes deep. Still waters run deep. Let's go. Let's talk about it.
One of my favorite
Patriot
ones.
Fan, how bad you cheat?
Well, first of all,
what happened? Can I get your time?
I can get into defense mode. I can get into defense mode, Ron. I can get into defense mode, right? I can really get into defense mode, but it's gonna be a lot of BS's, right?
Right, that's fine.
Nobody's gonna believe it.
Listen, honestly, I just brought it up because I'm not saying I agree with any of it. It was just hilarious to me as I'm literally trying to do research. What's a good conspiracy theory? And there's the Patriots on the list. And I'm like, what the fuck? This is amazing. I'm going to fuck with Messiah. So, no, we don't have to talk about it. JFK is a great one if you want to talk about it. Why do you think JFK got killed then? If it was a conspiracy, why did the government do it? There's a lot of I have a lot of different theories on it.
All right, so what's your theory?
Well, the theories I've read is there's a couple things. Number one, it was his ties to the mafia. So supposedly he had a really intricate relationship with the mafia, and the government didn't like it, and they were afraid of the mafia would be starting to get on the government because
powerful.
Yes, because he was tied to them too much. And remember, back then the mafia wasn't as big, but there was still a true mafia entanglement. That's because remember, think about Vegas. How old is Vegas really? Right, the mafia owned Vegas. They built Vegas, right? Like you guys, like if you know anything about the history of
built New York too.
Well, that's a different story, but you're right. So there was a lot of people in power that were afraid of his entanglements with other people. That stuff was going on. So that's one of the theories or the conspiracy theories I heard.
Well, one of the things I've heard, he was against a lot of the stuff that the government was doing, and he was about to release some stuff. Like
Aliens?
for example, he was part of ending the Cold War, right? In a sense of I can't say ending the Cold War. He was part of reaching an agreement where Cuba, in the middle of that, that's when they ended up assassinating him. But it was also during the Cold War.
Yeah, well,
During the
you're
time
right.
where
Because
the
remember
missile
Russia,
crisis, not the
exactly.
Cold War. Sorry, the missile crisis.
But that was part of the Cold War.
that-
You're right. No, you're right.
Yes. So and he was going against a lot of that stuff, and he was, well, first of all, he was one of the most liked. He had a lot of influence in this country during that time, a lot, and he was going against a lot of stuff that was happening that the government was trying to force, and he was more of the people type of.
So what it comes down
government.
to, then, let me ask you this, and I'm just curious what you say: who is the government?
Oh, that's deep. That's deep.
That's a good question. So Congress, right?
But here's the thing. So you're not. Once again, I say these things as to not say you're wrong, but to kind of agree with you, but to bring another light to it. So it goes back to say that here's another conspiracy theory. There's a handful of individuals who actually run
the country,
the government, right, and run this nation. Correct. So because Congress as a whole, you really think, like, how many congressmen do we have? I don't know off the top of my head, but Nate probably does because he's smarter than everybody here put together. But how many congressmen do we have? But they're all not going to get together in a room to collectively, like, 100 of them or even 50 of them, or even, God forbid, 20 of them, right? All 20 people aren't going to get together in the Congress and be like, let's assassinate our president. That shit's not going to happen, right? So when you say Congress, like, okay, no. But there's people in power then behind the scenes who are pushing buttons then, and that's the real conspiracy, right? It's not just about JFK being killed; it's who's in charge, even to this day.
Yeah, like
right
the president
now,
is the face.
who runs this country.
Yeah, the president is the face, but
Yeah, exactly.
who's behind
No.
the president?
Yeah, but a lot of people don't. Exactly, a lot of people don't believe. They believe that he has a lot of power.
It's the
president-
Illuminati.
power. No, he's
That's
just the face.
That's the conspiracy about the Illuminati or the Masons or the
Well,
Freemasons.
Illuminati has to do a lot with European.
Well, okay, Freemasons then. George Washington was a
Freemasons
Freemason.
more
Okay.
here.
But
Exactly,
same thing, but
Freemasons
the
is
same
more
group
here.
of conspiracy theories is what I'm trying to talk about, right? Like that whole thing that there's a handful of people.
That whole thing is,
which is
I
why,
love that.
And you know what? It goes back to what we talked about in the last time we brought this up, and you brought up a second ago, the George Bush and the whole 9/11 thing, right? Because there are conspiracies out there that he's a part of the Freemasons. His father was a part of the Freemasons. Like, this is all a deeper conspiracy that's been going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a part of the Freemason thing that, some of the rituals that are rumored out there is more they consider satanic rituals.
Nate, real quick, because we're starting to get to the point we're gonna have to wrap it up soon. Nate, do you know anything about like Freemasons, Illuminati, or that whole running the government? What do you think about all that?
Yeah, so I know of the Illuminati. I know a little bit about it. I know it's an elite group, very secretive.
Can I ask you something though? Because you're really smart. Are you a part of it? Did they recruit you? You could tell us. It's
If
okay.
I was a part of it, I would have been rich, not here where I'm at. I would have been gone.
All right, you got me on that one. All right.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure. I want you to know it's just the four of us. Nobody else is watching this. So if you're a part of it, man, let me in. All right.
No, if I was part of the group, I wouldn't be.
You would have been talking
I
to the
would've been
real
gone.
China.
Go ahead then. I'm sorry.
But-
I didn't mean to
but
interrupt.
No, but back to that. I mean, the Illuminati did bring up to another conspiracy that kind of goes hand in hand with the New World Order, and they have their own rules as far as how they control the people, how many people should be on this planet, and they actually have a quantifiable population number, and it's supposed to be right at about 500,000. It's like 500,000, 500 million.
Probably 500
where they can
million.
go
No,
ahead
it was 5 million. I think it was 5
million?
No, 5.
But didn't Hulk Hogan run that? NWO?
Supposedly, that's what I've heard about that too.
Yeah, Hulk
You
Hogan.
talking about the writing on the stone? The writing
No,
on the
no,
stone.
Hulk
that said
Hogan,
how many people-
NWO,
No.
fucking WCW. Psh, like-
No, yeah,
New
there's
World
that.
Order. New World
Yeah,
Order.
but
I'm sorry, I'm making some jokes here, guys. Catch on.
No, you're good. But yeah, they that's what they have. It was like that whole organization and all that. Yeah. And I mean, it is true about the rituals. They go to specific locations that they go ahead and perform, and you have to be chosen.
Yeah.
You can
Or
go
born.
and do it, and then this, or born, yeah. And obviously, you can get some religion into it, as far as like where they sell their souls and all that. But it does explain a lot, especially when it comes to government or anything of a high power, where in the example of JFK, okay, he was doing so good. All right, why is it that there's a select group of people going against it? If you're the president and you so-called have power over everything, why is it that in a matter of moments there's a change and nobody can explain it? That makes no sense. And then they go ahead and have the replacement, and then now that replacement does whatever. And it's that it happens to select people, because if the Illuminati really wanted to, they could just take over. They can do it.
But you made a great point, though. It's real quick. It's like you said, if they find somebody who's gaining too much power, who they don't have control over, like a Kennedy, you have to figure out a way to regain power. Because the one thing about the Illuminati, like you said, they could take over. That's not what they want. They don't want to be known. They don't want to be front and center. They want to be in the shadows, right? And that's the whole thing. Is now you have a guy who you can't control, who could literally dictate the work, like how things are going because of his popularity. Get him the fuck out. And there was only one way to do it.
Well, it ain't just a guy; it's a group of people, right, around the world.
No, what I meant the guy.
Think about another form of control.
But the guy I meant was the president at the time.
Oh yeah,
so
of course.
That goes back to right. And real quick, here's another conspiracy, and you can go Lewis after or Messiah after that. Let's talk about the last president before that to be assassinated, who was trying to change the world as we know it, Abraham Lincoln. Because there's a lot of talk
That's true, yeah.
that his assassination was by the same organization that assassinated Kennedy.
It could be.
Well,
Yeah,
it goes that far back though. That's when everything all started,
Further.
according to the history, the history of Freemasons.
It goes
and
from,
all that.
but like he said,
but it also goes
Europe.
back to the Templars. It
Yes.
goes that far back, Templars and all that.
Come
so.
on, you
That's
have
what I'm saying,
everybody
Illuminati
here
goes
should know about
European.
it. You were recruited your entire existence on this earth. You're here before the Freemasons or the Templars.
He created them.
I can neither
Well,
confirm
let me
or
just
deny.
tell you this.
Hold on, I can neither confirm or deny my existence with this
Let me just
organization.
tell you this:
He's the leader.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled to the world is he doesn't exist. so I'm just gonna tell you that.
I'm just here to collect a paycheck.
Here's the new rumor. Yo, Messiah's part of Illuminati. Yo, here's the new rumor. Yo, let's make it go viral.
Yo, thumbnail.
Hey, but
Maybe the show will take off now, bro. Yo, hold
You
on.
know
Maybe
what?
we're making money now, bro. Illuminati.
now that Messiah said that, now that he confirmed it, it would make sense. But think about it. He hasn't aged in over 20 years.
Thank you.
I'm just saying. I don't know.
20,000 years. This dude has never aged.
Exactly. Like,
Oh my goodness.
like he hasn't aged.
He sold his
I
soul to
don't
the
know.
devil.
I think he's part of it. I don't know.
No, I can't. So, hey, are we having? Oh wait, I was gonna say, do we have a sneaker
but-
day? But we don't have a sneaker
So
day.
hey,
But
I listen. I know I talked about it earlier, and I want to know if he's willing to do it. So we don't have a sneaker of the day, but I figure my boy Nate can give us a flex of the day, right? Like, I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to, but give us some kind of like,
alright.
give me a cool pose, like something, not just the arm, but give me something just unique. Like, what's a nasty Nate
Oh,
pose of the day?
so you want like bodybuilding show type poses?
Yeah. Let me get a flex of the
okay,
day.
alright.
But
I see you.
before you do any of that, give yourself, where can we find you on social media? Your Instagram. Give out that
Tell all the
information.
girls
So
where
like
they
that,
can
after
hit
you
you up.
flash this, they'll hit you up. After
Oh
this.
yeah, we gotta hit the show over after that. We can't do no more.
But before we end it though,
you're good.
One final conspiracy, or we out of time?
What
I
is
just
it?
have
We-
one
Well, we
question.
got- Go ahead, real
Question.
quick.
What the hell's inside Mount Rushmore? Rushmore. Because those mountains are hollow.
Well, that's Richie Rich's vault. Richie Rich's vault.
But what's exactly in there?
You never seen
Yeah.
the movie?
Oh, I like that.
Messiah knows. Richie Rich's vault. Yeah, Messiah knows.
I like that one.
Richie Rich.
I like that one.
All right, I'm gonna head out.
If you guys haven't seen the movie, go watch it. Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
Macaulay Culkin, Richie Rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually love that movie.
It was a good one.
But go ahead, Nate. Give yourself a shout out.
Oh, real quick,
and,
because we're
plug
gonna,
yourself.
no, go ahead.
plug
Yeah,
yourself.
go ahead. Plug it. Go ahead. We'll do it after.
No, you're good. Yeah. So my Instagram handle is nasty Nate
Not
63.
69, but
Kind of obviously where it come from.
Surprise is
On
not
Instagram.
69, right? Yeah.
Actually, I did try 69, but it got taken. So I had to switch. So I had to switch it to 63. So yeah, that's where I'm at, and then you'll see me with all my workout videos, stuff I post. I do random stuff. If you check my stories, I'm not responsible for whatever happens, so you're on your own there.
Yeah,
I'm
your
not
greatest
responsible for
memes,
that.
bro. The memes are fire.
I'm just saying, if you see them, I'm not responsible. But yeah, so I'll give you a few poses.
All right, let me go. Let's see it.
There's obviously, the most famous bodybuilding pose. You flex one arm.
Okay.
Now, when you want to show the extra head, all you gotta do is just turn your little wrist real quick.
The beach is that way. Okay.
You gotta reach it that way. Make a left on I-95.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how you give directions.
Yeah, that's how you do it. And then
all
when
I
you pull
know
both
is,
arms.
hey. All I know is right now.
You want this real quick, bro?
Oh,
and
the gun show.
Then you go a little bit forward, like that.
Do you know how many panties are dropping as he does this? Like, panties are just falling down all over the world right now. Like,
just so you know.
Just craziness.
So you
know.
Just
I promised myself. Hey, I promised myself I would do this shit, and I forgot about it. All right, before we end this, yo, so. We cut a deal. We cut a deal with LCP, Los Compadres Podcast. We cut a deal with them that for every subscriber they sent out to us, that we give them $5. So they gave us a shout out a couple of times for every subscriber that came out of them. So I want to thank them. I want to congratulate them. Because of them, our subscriber did increase, and we did say for every subscriber we get, they get $5. So LCP, we owe you $5. So thank you.
Hey,
thank you very much.
Yes, that was Marcus or Jay that subscribed. Hey,
thank you for the shout out.
Real quick, just a reminder, right, before we wrap it up, guys, tonight at 9 p.m. PET, Pandemic Eastern Time, it's going to be hashtag Aftershock, okay? And we want to invite you guys to come in, talk about it, be about it, live about it. Tell us what your conspiracies are. Tell us if you agree with the conspiracy we talked about today. Tell us if you want Nate's number. Whatever it is, we want to know. Okay? Hit us up. Let us know. We can get you on the line. We're going to have another special guest, just like we did last week. And the good news is we've decided, because of the great response we had in week 1, right, and that we're going to go ahead and we're going to invest and we're going to make sure that this doesn't end and have to restart. So this week we will be on Zoom, unlimited amount of time. Well, not unlimited, 24 hours tops. If you guys are on for more than 24 hours, get a fucking life. I'm just going to tell you that right now. But bottom line is we're going to be going as long as you want. It could be 10 minutes, could be 15, could be an hour, but we're out there having a good time, enjoying ourselves. And if I'm not mistaken, our boy Nasty Nate's going to be on there with his shirt off. So ladies, you better join in. You better check us out tonight at 9 p.m. Because you know what? He gave you the appetizer. You get the whole dish later.
And
let's go.
I would like to... Yeah, go ahead.
My fault. All I know is this: my hands and my mouth have got me in a lot of trouble. So that's all I'm going to leave it at.
He did it. He did it.
Go.
That's why I leave it.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's why they call him Nasty Nate.
That's Palo Malo for you.
I gotta represent the name.
No, but I would like to announce last week's winner for our contest. The user known by Jeff Amel has actually won our contest that we had. He answered the question.
Yeah, he answered the question.
Did anybody else get second and third, or like they just all just?
Nope.
You dumbasses! Wow. You didn't even.
Not even copy paste.
People. Nasty Nate, go on there tonight.
See, they missed out.
Right?
They
like,
missed out on this Overwatch exclusive Reaper Walmart pop. Bruh.
Listen, Viper don't want that. He wants some empanadas. We're gonna get him some empanadas.
Empanadas.
He got the shout out to Zoots.
Yes.
The empanada from Zoots.
Hey, you know what? Let's do this. Why don't we do this? And I'm down to do it for him. Let's get him a Zoots t-shirt since I never got one.
What color?
Okay.
What color? He's not going to choose a color. You guys in the comment section is going to choose the color that he gets.
There you go. Tell us what color it gets. And I'm still, hey, Zoots, still waiting on my shirt, bro. I got you on this shit. I put you on. Let's go. Hook a brother up.
All right, let's close the show. Let's close the show.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Don't forget, subscribe, hit the notification bell. All right. And tune in tonight, 9 p.m. PET time. Hashtag Aftershock. Come join us. Let's have some fun. Let's go.
Latest.
We got the right stuff. We